Hello, my name is Bret and welcome to the Disability Den, a TDC podcast. Today, I am ecstatic to be joined by friend and Paralympian Jessica Lewis. Jessica was born in Paget Parish, Bermuda, with a condition called diastema, which is a disorder in which a bone pierced her spine and split it, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. She has been involved in sports her whole life. She currently resides in Mississauga when she's not back home with her family in Bermuda. She is a multiple-time gold medalist at the Pan Am Games and has competed at a world championship in Doha, Qatar. She is coached by former teammate Curtis Tom with her club team, Cruiser Sports. She was introduced to her former coach, Ken Tom, at the age of 13 and began training in 2010. She received her education from Brock University in Recreation and Leisure Studies with a concentration on therapeutic recreation. She has been a flag bearer for Bermuda at multiple international events, including the 2011 Pan Am Games in Guadalajara, Mexico, as well as the Paralympic Games in 2012, as well as 2016. She dedicated her Pan Am Games gold medal in 2019 to her late coach, Ken Tom, who passed away after a scuba diving accident in South Africa in 2017. Afterwards, she was quoted as saying, quote, "It's been tough not having Ken with us at the 2019 Pan Am Games, but this was the first big competition without him. I'm doing all of this now in his honor. I'm so thankful to my coach, Curtis Tom, for getting me to this point. I can never explain just how grateful I am to him for stepping in after the loss of his dad and previous coach, Ken." Now, please help me welcome Jessica Lewis.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. And just for the listener, as I alluded to, you're sitting at home in sunny Bermuda while I'm sitting here in Mississauga, Canada, with 10 centimeters of snow and about minus 10.
Yeah, it's definitely different here. Nice and sunny and lots of palm trees and no snow in sight.
I wanted to start off by asking you, and I think we touched on it probably before we started, but what is the hardest part for you as an elite athlete to deal with during the last 12 or 13 months in this pandemic?
So there's been a few different things that have been, a bit of a struggle for me. One is being that I have come back here to Bermuda to be with my family, which is fantastic, that part. But it has been very difficult to be away from my teammates and kind of training on my own every single day here. We do get to do a lot of Zoom training, but it definitely is different than just being there in person. And I think another thing that's been difficult is just not having any competitions to be a part of. So it's just been mainly training and, we don't get that outlet of competing.
For someone that doesn't actually understand the sport of wheelchair racing and how important it is to compete, obviously, to keep your standards up and to train with your teammates to continue to keep your times steady, how important is that for you as we move towards another Paralympics?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. I mean, having that postponement of the games, in one sense, it was good because I wasn't able to be with my teammates to get that kind of full-on training. But now that, this year, hopefully we're going to be getting back into more competing, and hopefully I'll be coming back to Canada soon. I'll be able to join back in with them, and having, like I said, having that Zoom has been helpful just so that we can all still kind of continue to be there for moral support to get us going. But definitely my training isn't like it is if I was there in person.
I understand that there are different classifications in wheelchair racing, and I apologize. I'm ignorant because I don't know your class, and I definitely don't know the class of your other teammates on your club team here in Canada. But does that make a difference when you're training, when you're racing, so to speak, against your teammates?
Yeah, so in wheelchair track racing, there's a ton of classifications. So I'm in the class of a T53. So T stands for track, and then the classifications that are in the 50s are all individuals who have impairment to their spines, and 53 is one of the lower functioning paraplegics, whereas 54 would be kind of higher functioning. The main difference that I always like to say is a 53 cannot do a sit up without using their hands because their core isn't as strong, whereas a 54 would be able to. So on my team specifically, I'm the only 53, and my other teammates are 54s, as well as a 34, which is an athlete with cerebral palsy. So definitely having the different classes makes a difference when training. But I'm very lucky that I'm with classes that are kind of faster and higher functioning than I am. So it makes me a better athlete getting to push with them.
So going back to your club team, I'm curious to know, because I do know some of your teammates on your club team. Who's your favorite to train with?
Oh my goodness. You're going to throw me under the bus with that question. I think we're such an amazing team. You know, we all get along so well and we all encourage each other that I really couldn't say who was my favorite. You know, we all have our different strengths. And when you get to work with such a motivated group of people, it's absolutely fantastic.
Now, when you're home in Bermuda, and I know we've talked about this or we've touched on it already, you've been home for about 12 or 13 months, I would imagine. What else have you been doing besides training?
Looking after a lot of my nieces and nephews. I have four now, and there's a fifth one on the way. So three girls and one boy. So they've definitely kept me very, very busy.
And I suppose being an auntie is probably one of your favorite things that you're able to be part of.
Yeah, for sure. And they bring so much joy and laughter into your life. It's absolutely amazing. And to have this opportunity to, you know, been here for the past 12 months to see them grow, because kids change so fast. It's been phenomenal to get to see that.
So I want to switch gears a little bit and speak to your late coach, Ken Tom. Obviously, the loss of Ken as your first coach was a traumatic experience. Has the experience helped you grow into the person and athlete that you are?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, losing Kent was, like you said, very, very traumatic and, you know, something that I never thought would happen. And Ken was just such a force to be reckoned with. He was, you know, a lot more than just a coach to me. He was like a second father. And he just wanted to see anybody and everybody excel in the sport. And he would do absolutely anything that he could to help an athlete get to or achieve their goals. So definitely losing him was a huge blow, not just for being an athlete, but you know, in life in general, because he was such a huge part of every single aspect of my life. And I think now that you know, we're moving forward, this happened in 2017. I'm kind of using it as a way to continue to motivate myself that I can't, you know, can't let him down, and I can't let the, you know, 7 years that we had together go to waste. So I'm definitely doing it in his memory.
As a follow-up to my previous question, you now are lucky enough to work with a man that I've known probably since he was 7 years old. And if he's listening to this, he may be embarrassed that I've mentioned that I've known him since he was 7. But Curtis Tom, who is Ken Tom's son, what has the transition been like to move from Ken to Curtis?
It's been absolutely phenomenal. I'm so thankful to Curtis for stepping in. He went through such an incredibly hard time, you know, not only losing his dad, but losing his coach as well, or the other way around. And getting to work with somebody that has been such an incredible teammate before that and always, you know, pushing me to get better and doing pretty much anything that he could to make sure that I excelled in the sport as well. And for him to step in, and he actually told me at Ken's funeral, "Don't worry, I've got you." And that just spoke volumes to me on, the type of person that he is, and, just how much he is following in his dad's footsteps, and, making sure that the sport continues on, and that, building that relationship from teammate into coach took a little bit of time, but we are definitely kind of on the same page now. And having a coach that was a previous athlete as well is really cool, because he kind of gets the nerves that an athlete would get before a race. So he kind of understands on a different level. But yeah.
What motivates Jessica Lewis?
Oh, that's a good question. Definitely my teammates. They're absolutely phenomenal and always there, even outside of the sport, to help you become a better person. And they definitely are a huge force for my motivation, as well as doing it in Ken's memory. And I just have such a huge love for the sport that it comes naturally.
Now, I understand that your track career is relatively young and you're going to be smashing records and winning medals for a very long time. But I'd like to know, what is next for Jessica Lewis after her career is done and she hangs up her chair?
I haven't thought a lot about that just yet, because I'm kind of still, fully focused on being an athlete, and I can't really see what my life will be like outside of being an athlete. But I think, possibility of coaching down the line, or I want to come back to Bermuda and, try and get adaptive sports going a little bit more here, just get the awareness out. So definitely we'll still have my teeth into sports.
Now, we keep talking about the fact that your home is in Bermuda. Does the community around you, or even the government, have they given you their full support? How has that worked out for you?
Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal. Coming from a small country, I think it's a little bit easier that people kind of know who you are, and just the amount of support and love that Bermuda has shown to me has been absolutely phenomenal, and been a huge part of, my journey to wanting to continue in the sport, and wanting to, get better each and every day, so that I can wear my country's name with pride.
Again, we understand that your family is back home in Bermuda, and when you're in Canada, does that have any effect on you when you're here in Canada, either training with your teammates or going to school, or if you're at a job? Do you find yourself homesick at times?
Absolutely. I feel like I kind of have two separate lives. I have my Bermuda life with my family, and then I have my Canada life with my teammates. But I'm very, very fortunate that both sides of the spectrum, both support groups are so understanding of, where I need to be to accomplish the goals that I've set out for myself. And my family are very, very awesome and come out to see me a lot, even in the snow. But I'm just very, very fortunate to have such an incredible support network. And I'm very grateful for both, of my lives.
What's your favorite part of being a Paralympian?
Oh, I think sports specific, I like to go fast.
That sounds like a pretty standard answer with a wheelchair racer. I
Yeah.
have to be honest with you. And from personal experience, I was in a chair once and I fell flat on my face coming into the first left-hand turn. So never again, but I do appreciate it. And I can continue to respect everything that you and your teammates at your club level and the teammates that you have in Bermuda continue to do.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Jessica, I want to thank you for being my guest today on the Disability Den. I am your host, Bret Wills. This podcast has been brought to you by the Disability Channel and is made possible by the Introduction to Accessible Content Production Program in partnership with Mohawk College and Alware Limited.